Welcome to the Building and Growing podcast. We're delighted to have Eva Lautz with us today. Welcome, Eva.
Hi, Lucas. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're most welcome. It's a very rainy day here in London, but we made it into the studio relatively dry.
Yes, it's very dry,
Yeah,
luckily.
fantastic. Look, Eva is the founder of Studio Melrose, and today I guess we're going to dive into a few different topics, about marketing, branding, and a couple of verticals, and maybe even some social channels. But Eva, do you want to kick off with an intro to yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Eva. You pronounced it very well.
Oh, thank you.
I've been running Studio Melrose for about 3 years now. So started in the pandemic.
Yes.
Very interesting time. I've been in marketing for the last 7 years. Also studied marketing.
Nice.
I had a little bit of a gap year traveling, which I really enjoyed. So yes, I've moved to London. I've worked at a media agency first.
Okay.
And started my own company on the side. My co-founder joined as well. So we're a little team now, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, fantastic. And London, is that type of city where you get here and you realize so many people do side hustles or have,
Yes.
like they're contracting businesses, and it plants the seed in your mind straight away.
Yeah, it does. It was not my intention to start a business, but
Yeah.
I did a lot of freelance and it just grew and grew.
Yeah.
To Studio Melrose.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And what marketing agency were you working for, when you first started out?
So I was working at Dentsu. I'm not sure if you heard of it.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
It's originally from Japan.
Yes.
Quite a big agency, which was really nice, like really nice people. Nice location in Great Portland Street.
Okay.
But yeah, COVID hit
Mm.
and things changed. And yeah, I decided to take the risk, which was interesting. It was a lot of hard work, but I'm really glad I did it.
Yeah,
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah, well, look, I mean, I know from my days at British Airways, we were, I think we had some deals with Dentsu and like Ogilvy and BBH. I think WPP owned Ogilvy. It was, a very interesting big market, but that's such a massive change to then go out on your own. So what is Studio Melrose?
So Studio Melrose is a branding and marketing agency. We're still very small, so we would be a boutique agency.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 5 people. We have specialists in each area. So we have a specialist in SEO, for example, socials, advertising, and branding as well, graphic design. So we can offer a lot with our expertises to clients.
Yeah,
Yes.
fantastic. So look, I mean, I guess when you talk about those different services, do you normally package them up as one, or would some clients just work on SEO, others just advertising? How does your business model work?
Yeah, so there are different packages, so people can pick and choose basically what they need. Sometimes it changes, so they start with a package and then they change it to something else because they feel like, oh, we need a little bit more support in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Every service we offer, it complements each other. So I think we can offer every service, but we could also specialize in one part of what the business needs, basically.
Yeah,
Yes.
fantastic. And I mean, I guess like you mentioned graphic design, I'm seeing, lots more companies almost like push out designs on LinkedIn, carousels and things like that as they go down more organic strategies.
Yes.
Are you seeing businesses maybe spend less on advertising relative to before? Are there any, I guess, of your business lines that you see picking up relative to others that may have been more popular when money was more accessible?
Yes, so that's an interesting question. So I would say organic is unfortunately, well, it's dying out a little bit because
Really? Yeah.
yes, because there's so much noise on Instagram, for example. Even TikTok is becoming really big right now.
Yes.
So there's so many competitors, so many businesses that want to be seen.
Yeah.
And because there's so many people on the channel, it's hard to stay on top and to be seen, basically.
Yeah.
If you advertise, you'll be on top of the page.
Mm.
So you'll be top of mind. and it's easier for people to actually see your post, because in the beginning it was like 10% visibility.
Yes.
It dropped to 8%. Sometimes it's even 5% of your followers that see
Oh wow.
the post. So it's
The
going
organic
down
ones.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Incredible.
And it depends on your service, on your industry, but still it's hard to get visibility online.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think advertising is the way to make sure that the things you post are
seen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
that's incredible. I didn't know that there was, I guess, a visibility level on TikTok and Instagram. I guess
Yes.
on LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know. I only really post on LinkedIn. I don't have any company channels on the other platforms. But yeah, if I just do a calculation in my head, I think, the average snippet would get, like 40 to 70% visibility, I suspect.
Yes.
So, which compared to, I guess, 5 to 10%,
Yes.
is a decent amount.
It is. I think it depends on the service you offer and how engaged your audience is.
Yeah.
But still, it drops a lot. And on TikTok, for example, there are a lot more possibilities on
Yes.
TikTok. So it's easier to be seen. It's easier to go viral.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for businesses, really focus on TikTok.
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
if you think, well, the audience is too young, it's still a really good place to be, because you pay less to be seen, and it's easier to go viral, and there's less noise on the platform.
Yeah.
Which will be, like, in a couple of years, I'm sure it will be as big as Instagram.
Yes.
Or maybe even sooner.
Yeah.
But for now, it's a really good place to start.
Fantastic.
Posting content. Yes, I think there are a lot of possibilities with organic content. If you make content that is valuable to the followers you have, to your audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really need to work with a strategy, because otherwise there's so much out there and people won't find it interesting, and they just scroll down. They don't engage with it, and then you'll be less likely to be seen if you post more content.
Yes.
So I think, really have a strategy behind what you're posting. What do people want to know about your company? What is interesting?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of trends as well in terms of sharing knowledge. So interviews as well, like this could be perfect for TikTok.
Yeah.
Because like small snippets of like interesting facts about marketing, about entrepreneurship, like there's a lot you can share.
Yeah.
And you see like a big trend with podcasts as well, shared on TikTok, on Instagram.
Yes.
So yeah, especially video content is the way to go.
Yeah, I have been a bit naughty myself in not opening up a TikTok account, but yeah, maybe it can be a New Year's resolution.
Yes, yeah, 2024, you'll be on TikTok.
yeah, that's it. So, Eva, you mentioned strategy there. Let's say a client came to work with Studio Melrose. What key sort of strategic considerations would you guide them through?
Yes, well, a lot. It depends on the service.
Yeah.
But we'll have a look at their website, at their socials. Well, actually, we'll start with their brand, because I think that's where it all starts, right?
Yeah.
So your branding is how people perceive you. So I think we'll have a really close look at your brand and how you implement that in the rest of your marketing. So, for example, if you have a logo with colors, brand colors, can you see that on your website too? Is it on your socials? Like, how do you connect your brand to your other platforms, basically?
Yeah.
So once that stands, we'll go from there, have a look at the website, have a look at the socials, the content. So we do a lot of content creation too.
Yes.
So we've done a really cool campaign for a hotel in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And it was like, it was actually in London, like bustling city, overworked, because people tend to work a lot in the city, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes into the calm of the hotel, of like tranquility, like serenity. Do I pronounce it well? So it goes into like a really like chill mode. Birds chirping.
Yeah.
Really nice. So and that can be
fantastic.
used for advertising purposes, for socials, like the website, there's a lot you can do with video content, obviously.
Yeah.
So we implement that in different platforms for them.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a very appealing thing when the weather's rainy and grey outside in London. So I'm sure that would resonate, quite well with the audience here.
Yes. I think especially during this time of the year.
Yeah.
Going to a Caribbean destination is, But yeah, we work with different industries, so it's hotels. But then during COVID, that went down a bit, obviously. Hospitality is still something I really love.
Okay.
I love traveling, so that's but we also we have a really nice co-working space we work with.
Okay.
We have a nursery.
Oh wow.
In West London. We work with Time Out, which is like
the magazine.
Yeah. Well, they're online now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So different. Yeah, but I think that's what makes it interesting too. And I think it's good to. So we specialize in content creation and branding.
Yes.
So it's good to have like a specialism, but I think you could apply marketing to any company out there, right? So any company can use promotion and help with how to put themselves on the market. So I think that's what makes it interesting, especially if the company doesn't do marketing themselves in-house, for example. Like there's a lot to chat about and to brainstorm about, and there's always like a lot you can do to grow visibility, to grow sales.
Indeed. And how do you find, I guess, like each sector that you mentioned? I know you mentioned like hotels, hospitality, travel. How do you find, I guess, the requirements change from one sector to another?
That's really interesting. I think we started to work with a health clinic. So for them, they really want to be found online.
Yes.
So if someone is looking for healthcare, basically, online, they type in certain keywords, right?
Yeah.
So the health clinic we work with, they want to be found. So they want to be seen in Google. So they want to be on top. So that's where SEO comes in. So for them, SEO is one of the most important things. Like Google Ads could be helpful too, but SEO is really where they get like traffic in. And then like blogs, we help them with blogs. Just overall optimization of the website. Like there are a lot of technical terms which I'm not going to use, but I think for them, Google is like the main thing where they want to rank and they want to be found. So but then again, if you're going for a hotel, it's all about experience, right? So video would be the best way to get people in, because they really, they can sort of have a sneak peek into how their holiday could be. And it's very visual. So video is perfect for hospitality, for restaurants even.
Okay.
Because you want to see what you what you're getting, right? So just to have that sort of visual content that's appealing.
Yes.
That really helps to get in customers. But then it depends on the industry. So let's say for a protein powder.
Yep.
So protein powders are, they're everywhere at the moment.
I drank some this morning.
So if you're in the supermarket or you're in Holland and Barrett, wherever you are, and you're looking for a protein powder, you unconsciously you look at the packaging, right? So that's where branding comes in and is really important. So packaging, like what colors are you using? How do you stand out from, because there's so many protein powders out there. So if you can design, and that's something we love to do. So we design packaging for products, and we really want to make them stand out. So I think, that's for products. I would say branding, graphic design is really important just to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I didn't realize you guys did product branding designs as well. That's
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
super different.
Yeah, it's because the co-founder is, well, he's an amazing graphic designer.
Yeah, yeah,
And he just knows what works, and he's very creative. So he does a
yeah.
lot of packaging, website design, all
Okay.
things design, basically.
Yeah,
Yes.
far out. Yeah, that's nuts. And I mean, I guess we can dive into sort of trends from each of the points you mentioned there. You know, I guess like internet sales driven companies are looking for more, you know, ranking on Google, for example, if you know, Google's a key channel for them. Hotels and such are, you know, going for experiences, and so being video first is important there. And then, you know, like products, physical products, brand recognition is super important.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering if we can dive in one by one to talk about what sort of trends you might be seeing in each one of those industries, which one of those verticals. So why don't we start with brand recognition? What is, you know, what's going on in that space?
What's going on in that space? Interesting. There's a lot going on. I would say simplicity is very important for branding, because you want to be recognized. So if there's a lot going on with your brand, I think it's professional to just have a clear brand style,
Yeah.
and it's easier to implement that in all of your platforms with a nice color scheme. But it all depends on what you're selling. So
Yeah.
I think we are working with a lot of trends, like different fonts and styles, but
Yep.
it's also important to have a brand that is timeless. I personally think
Yeah.
it's really good to have a rebranding every 4 years or so, but to have a brand that could last for a long time, I think that's where the priority should be.
Indeed.
So it's good to look at the trends for branding, definitely, but I would say, have a look at your brand core values, like where do you want to stand in 10 years, and does that brand still matches that
Yeah.
vision? So I think that's really important for branding.
Yes, yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I think that's a real key point because, like if a business, you know, thinks about in 10 years, will the same sort of clients and things be around?
Yes.
Actually, you know, it could change. I guess there's a lot of businesses that, you know, have operated off the back of cookies. And then, you know, when a cookieless future comes in, they're going to have to change their business
Yes.
model and their branding as well
Yes.
to survive.
I would say rebranding is really important I would say 4 years at least.
Yes.
Just because your company changes. You might have like different audiences you're selling to. It can all change, right? So I would say rebranding is important to keep it fresh and to keep growing and evolving as a company.
Yeah,
Yes.
indeed. Fantastic. And you know, we talked a bit about SEO as well, and there's maybe less noise now about ChatGPT than there was before.
Yes.
But you know, I guess I'd like to ask, how important is SEO now, and you know, do you still see companies gaining success through the strategies?
Yeah, I think SEO is here to stay because websites are here to stay too,
Yes.
and you want to be found online. So yeah, it still depends on which industry you're in, but I think SEO is one of the main things to focus on as a company, because social media is seen as a portfolio now too, because a lot of people are checking out the social profile before they go into the website.
Yeah, indeed.
But it all
indeed.
links. So if you're selling fashion and you're found, like you found a company on Instagram, you then go to their website.
Yeah.
And it's important to have like a user-friendly experience, but also to get new customers in that are looking for let's say, a black dress,
Yes.
and you're typing in black dress, and you're the first company that comes up organically,
Yeah.
that means you're getting a lot of hits on your website. So
Yeah.
even with JetGTP is a great tool to use, even if you're an SEO, because it can help you to like outline blogs. It can help you to do briefings, for example.
Yes.
But it can't do everything, and it needs help and it needs input. So it's a good tool to use for SEO, but it's not. You need a human touch, basically. You need like someone that gives input, and there's a lot SEO wise, like technical stuff you can't do with JetGTP.
Yeah. Like with the meta tags and things like that.
Yes, like even search volume and the right keywords. Like it can come up with a lot of great examples, but it's and I'm sure in a few years it will be even bigger and it will be much better.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet. So it's great as a tool and it's helpful with SEO, but it's not that like if you have JetGTP, you're fine. No, you're not. Yeah, you still need like an expert to work with it, basically. Yes.
Fantastic. And I guess, I've saved, in my eyes at least, the best till last in terms of, experiential and being video first. What trends are you seeing in that space?
Yes. So I would say shorts are like very, very trending right now.
Yeah.
So you could like record this whole session and have a lot of shorts with interesting quotes.
Yes.
And it's sort of a promotional purpose too, because if you are posting shorts on TikTok, for example, with like interesting parts of the podcast, it just gets people curious and they want to view the whole podcast. So
indeed.
It's great to have like a sort of like I follow Diary of a CEO. I'm not sure if you've
yes, with Steve Bartlett.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love how they like put on these shorts on Instagram, like really exciting quotes of people they interview, and it's like, oh, I want to listen to this podcast. So they do it really well. So I think that's a really good way to get people's attention. And all video based, basically. And there's a lot of like, which I really like, is knowledge, sharing knowledge. Because why would you follow a company if they're just posting their services, basically, or if they're just posting, let's say you're a dentist and you say, oh, we do teeth cleaning, something like that. Like people are not really interested in that. But if you tell about how, this is such a bad example, by the way, but if you tell about why it is important to clean your teeth and the benefits and the risks if you're not doing it,
that's it.
It creates more of a
it's much more
curiosity.
Interesting.
Yes.
It's kind of like, all right, like if you brush each tooth for 2 seconds a day instead of 3 seconds a day,
this is what happens.
This is what happens. No, I agree with that. Like when you can learn from someone, you're more likely to keep following them. Even if it's a random tip. Like my algorithm is always like now geared to like historical like tips, like, and it shows me like in Turkey, like there's this Göbekli temple and it's one of the oldest ones in the world. And because I liked it now, it keeps showing me like, did you know information about different historical artifacts and places. And I'm more likely to follow them because I'm like, it's kind of interesting. It teaches me a bit. So
and I'm sure if you're in Turkey, you want to go to their place.
Exactly. That's it. So, and I follow it. Maybe then I come back to it when I eventually book a trip to go somewhere.
So I think it's hard to track, but I think the main thing is a video as well. It's brand awareness and it's getting people curious. And then it will stay somewhere in their mind. And if they go to that destination or they go to that location, it's up there. And they're like, oh, I remember this restaurant I saw online, like this promotional video I've seen, or yeah, I think it's a lot of like, it's unconscious too, like
yeah, it's all there. Yeah, I mean, I had someone this week who said, yeah, I saw a couple of your snippets on LinkedIn, and then I saw a podcast that was relevant, so he added me, and then we set up a time to chat, and it's kind of like, yeah, he'd seen me before, but that was that, whereas then at the end he was like, yeah, all right, now it's time to have a chat. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, which is great. And one thing that we've discussed, I guess, separately, are influencers and sort of the role of influencers. So I'm wondering if you want to talk a little bit about that.
We've been doing quite a lot of influencer management recently, and it's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people thought, oh well, influencer management, that was like a trend, but it will fade out basically.
Yeah.
But it's really not.
Yes.
It's still like such a big thing. I think a lot of people think, well, it is hard to track, like the actual sales coming out of it. You can track it with like codes and stuff, but it's still harder to track.
Yeah.
But what you do see is, like, when we work with influencers and they post content about certain clients we work with, you really can see like a peak in reach, engagement, followers.
Oh, wow.
You can like clearly see like on that day that influencer posted this.
Yeah.
And we see like this huge peak in traffic and reach. I would say influencer management is a really good way for brand awareness, and it can really boost your company, especially like in the product industry. Like there's so much you can do with influencer marketing to just be a recognized brand. And it goes so much quicker than trying to build your company for years and years. And well, if you have a great influencer that matches your brand, because I think that's a really important thing too. They have to like have the same values and not just a random influencer with a lot of followers, basically.
Yeah, but that was kind of going to be my question. Do you go for micro influencers or mass influencers?
Yes, it could be a mix.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say micro influencers are a really good way, because if they have a high engagement, I think that's more important than the actual followers.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if they have a good engagement rate and they align with your company, they can really bring a lot of benefits in terms of reach and followers and even giveaways. There's so much you can do with influencers, and we've seen really, really good results working with influencers. Even if it's something that's still a little bit hard to track, there are ways to track performance.
Yes. And do you see, I guess, influencer pricing decreasing or increasing as more and more come onto the market?
Well, it's expensive if you work with really big influencers, but we've done a few influencer events. So I think there are lots of ways to have influencers without paying huge amounts of money.
Okay. Yeah.
If you make it really interesting for them to come.
Yes.
So yeah, events are a great way to bring influencers together.
Yeah.
You don't pay a huge amount, but you still get like great results.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is going up. Like prices are increasing because I feel like everyone is an influencer these days. Like everyone's like growing, which is great. But yeah, there are lots of ways to keep the cost down with influencer marketing.
Yes.
But I think if you have a budget, it is interesting to test and see if it works for your business, because I wouldn't recommend it to every business. It depends on what industry you're in and what service you sell. And then see who matches that. So yeah, I would definitely, also this starts with strategy too. So have a strategy before you start reaching out to influencers. Because it can be very overwhelming because there's so many, like where do you start? So yeah, again, like look at your brand and your values and see if the influencer matches that.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Eva, we've covered a lot today in terms of, what Studio Melrose does, the types of clients that it services, everything from hotel industries to nurseries and, hospitality. We've touched upon the types of channels that these companies can reach their audiences through, and, I guess the importance of SEO still being there, video first being a great way to provide an experiential way to engage with audiences, and just how branding and brand recognition is super important. And if you don't keep it simple, people can get confused and, kind of forget about you. But I was wondering if there are any key takeaways you'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah, so you summed it up greatly. So key takeaways. I would say marketing can be a bit overwhelming sometimes, and it's hard to where to start.
Yes.
So I would say go back to the basics, come up with a strategy first, and then see where you're spending your money, because not every channel will be as successful as you think.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much out there, and I would say do it all and test it all.
Yes.
So when the budget is tight, it's sometimes hard to make a decision on where to spend the money on.
Yeah.
So if you start with a clear strategy, and then test, basically marketing is all about testing. So what gives you the best results? It can be influencer marketing, it can be social media, it could be with advertising. It doesn't have to be all of it. You can choose.
Yes. Yeah.
I would say a great marketing strategy combines all of them. So if you have the money to spend, if you have a great marketing budget, yes, go for all of the channels.
Yeah.
Because the more you do, the more brand awareness you get, and the more people will see your brand, obviously.
Yeah.
But if the budget is a bit tighter, see what's really important to you, and test what channel works best, or what service. Like, for example, ads could be a great way for you. Like we work with a company who just do ads, so that's how they make their money.
That's nuts.
Yes,
far out.
So it depends.
It's the ads example is an interesting one, because I did a drop shipping or e-commerce type podcast, and back in the day you could put ad spend behind anything and still have a good customer acquisition cost to lifetime value ratio, whereas nowadays, like, I hear people trying to run away from ads, but it's great to hear it's still working.
It is. I think especially for products, it can work really well. And on socials as well, because there are different ads. Well, you have social media ads, you have Google ads. So especially on TikTok, for example, there are businesses that are doing like amazing just on selling clothing or whatever through TikTok. To the TikTok shop, basically.
Okay.
Which is is really it's so interesting.
I'm writing down so many notes. This is super insightful for me. Fantastic.
But it's really interesting because it keeps changing. And I think another takeaway could be look at the trends. And see what works best for you. So you don't have to, like, there's so many trends out there. Like one of the trends on socials is memes now. So I'm not sure if you've seen the templates.
I've done a couple.
So on TikTok you have these like funny memes of actors and stuff, and they dance or they say things, and you put that in front of a photo, and with a text, and like it can go viral really easily if you put the right words in there. But it doesn't mean you have to do that. So if your company doesn't want to be perceived funny, for example, it needs to be very serious and professional. Like that's not the way, obviously, to do it. So have a look at the trends, but see what works best for your company.
Eva, thank you so much for sharing, the takeaways with us, as well as, your story of how you built Studio Melrose and the clients that you're servicing. And we look forward to your rebrand as it, comes to light over the next few months.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. Anytime.
And yeah, I hope it was insightful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, thanks again for having me.
Anytime. Thank you, Eva.
Thank you.